Godwyn the Golden. He may have been the first demigod to die, but he wouldn't be the last. Many others also perished, and when they lost their souls, their bodies were put into the Walking Mausoleums. On the underside of the mausoleum, there is a giant bell, and it rings out with every step that it takes. The endless ringing is a lament for the fallen demigods. They are protected by the fierce and loyal mausoleum soldiers, led by Lufel the Headless, who pledged herself in service to Godwyn the Golden. The knights and the soldiers are expected to lay down their own life in sake of the demigods, but the mausoleum soldiers were more loyal than most. They willingly beheaded themselves so they could serve their masters, even in death. They're a fairly unique enemy we have to face. They can dematerialize themselves and reappear around us, and dodge our attacks with that, but are otherwise like most other demigod knights. Sadly, we don't have a lot of lore for the demigods that are laid to rest, but I think it's fair to assume that those gods did not die a true death. For when Godwyn the Golden was slain in the Night of the Black Knives, his spirit died, but his body did not. And so he became the herald of those who live in death, and he fundamentally changed the lands between. I would love to talk more about Godwyn the Golden and those who live in death, but it would make more sense as a whole separate video. But I didn't mention it without reason. What's important to know, that the demigods and Godwyn the Golden seem to be linked, for Godwyn did not die a true death, only his soul died, or his spirit, and the demigods are described as soulless, not dead. The swords and the spears of the Mausoleum Knights are also infused with death blight, an affliction that came into being with Godwyn's death. And last but not least, the spot where Godwyn's true corpse is. That's the spot where most Mausoleum Knights in all of the lands between appear. The mausoleums, however, also have gameplay features. We can find a note from a nomadic merchant in the Weeping Peninsula, and it tells us that we have to clean the feet of the fossilized remains, and after a certain number the mausoleum will shake itself, rocks falling down, and after that it will place itself on the floor and we may enter. All the Mausoleum Knights in the area will then die, never to respawn, which is kind of a problem if you wanted to farm their armor. But there's multiple, so of course you can go there. Inside the mausoleum there is a corpse, slightly larger than a normal person, quite reminiscent of Queen Renala or Melania. We see that the gods are also missing their heads. It's not stated anywhere why that is the case, but it reminds us of the soldiers who also beheaded themselves. We can then use the body of the soulless demigod to remake remembrances. Sadly, that's all the lore or gameplay elements that they have. Thanks for watching.